If we have not just a teaching and learning problem, not just a resource problem, not just an after-school or a discipline policy problem, but a cultural problem in the way in which we talk about education, we need a cultural solution. We need to, you could use the word paradigm. There's a lot of big words out there. What's the paradigm? But at a general level, I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, we don't need another meta-analysis of test scores. As helpful and powerful as it is, we need to keep at that work, but we need a meta-analysis of the public communications and policy debates we're having as a country. I think we need to return, as we think about this, and I'd love you to write on your list of what you think the change themes ought to be. If you were saying to yourself, well, if the old themes are testing, if the old themes are accountability, if the old themes are measurement, if the old themes are standards, what are the new themes? What's your list of what you'd put on here? Teaching and learning, here's a sort of a summary of many of the social and emotional learning themes. Teaching and learning is a relationship. A lot of times you'll hear people say, well, you need good relationships for teaching and learning. I don't say it that way. I say teaching and learning is a relationship. It's not supported by relationships. It's not as though content is some disembodied thing sitting on a shelf that a relationship helps channel. No, the relationship is the learning and the teaching process. How do relationships work? They work by emotion and attention. If I pay attention to you, that means my emotions are turned on. And when my emotions are activated, my attention's activated. When my attention's activated, I'm motivated, and I'm able to pay attention. I'm able to learn. So there's no separation of emotion from the relationship. There's no separation from the relationship from learning. The head and the heart are in the same body. It's not like one comes to school and the other stays home. It's not like one is in the bathroom and the other is in the classroom. It's not like one is at the dance and the other is, in front of the computer. They go together. You've never seen one without the other. But we cling to this stubborn myth that they live in separate worlds, that you can actually walk around and leave one in one room and then pick one up in the other. It's not possible. Learning is constructive. This is about a 150-year-old insight. And yet, how much teaching and learning do you see that's not constructive, that's dogmatic, that's top-down, that's rote-driven, where the learner is not asked to construct any meaning? It's not just not liberal or not nice. It's wrong. Scientifically incorrect insight. Learning is, by definition, a constructive exercise. Meaning and value are constitutive of it. Kids want to know where the meaning and value is for them. They don't learn something because, some person a generation earlier learned it. They learn it because they've figured out it means something to them. If it doesn't mean anything to them, you know what they do. They put their head down on the desk and they go to sleep. It's not complicated. Walk into any classroom, you'll see them. Kids that put their head down on the desk and go to sleep because it doesn't mean anything. The relationship hasn't communicated any meaning or value. Schools can be places that are centered on the search for meaning and value. What's true? What's good? What matters to me? What matters to others? If we don't have those at the center of the relationships, the kids won't learn. There's no emotional connection to what matters. They're not going to be engaged to try to learn it. And there's a lot of competition, as we all know. And I think the final insight, which, and again, I'd love to know everybody's list. This is my list. This is not a list that emerges from the meta-analysis. It emerges from a lot of experience, but many of you in the room have equal amounts, if not more. But what are the meta-change themes we need to think about? I don't know whether this is the right list or not, but it's my list.